Welcome to our podcast today. We're going to dive into how international organizations shape our world. It's really fascinating when you think about it.
Absolutely. Sometimes I wonder how our world would look without them. Chaos, maybe?
Probably. Imagine trying to coordinate a global pandemic response without the WHO.
Oh, yeah.
It would be like herding cats. Impossible.
Exactly. Speaking of coordination, the United Nations plays a huge role in bringing countries together.
Yes. I mean, after World War II, nations realized we needed a platform to prevent such tragedies. The UN was born out of that necessity.
And they've been involved in peacekeeping missions ever since, right?
Yeah, although some say those missions aren't always effective.
Right.
It's like bringing a Band-Aid to a bullet wound sometimes.
That's a vivid analogy. But I see your point. The Security Council's dynamics can complicate things.
Definitely. The veto power of the 5 permanent members can stall crucial decisions.
Exactly.
It's both a blessing and a curse.
But hey, at least they're trying, right? And when it comes to trying, the European Union is another interesting case.
Oh yeah. The EU is like one big family. It has its squabbles, but they stick together.
True.
Free trade, open borders. It's quite progressive.
Unless someone decides to leave the family. Remember Brexit?
Oh, don't get me started. It's like that one cousin who decides the family gatherings aren't their scene anymore.
Exactly. But jokes aside, it shows that not everyone feels the benefits equally.
Right? And that raises questions about national sovereignty versus the collective good. It's a tricky balance.
Speaking of balancing acts, NATO's collective defense principle is a major deterrent, but it can be a tightrope walk with global tensions.
Absolutely. It's like forming a neighborhood watch. Great for security, but can make the new neighbors feel unwelcome.
Yeah.
Countries like Russia might see it as a threat.
And then there's the issue of shared responsibility. Some members don't contribute as much financially, right?
Exactly. It's the classic group project scenario. One person does all the work while others coast along.
So true.
It can create resentment.
Moving on, the WTO aims to level the playing field in global trade, but does it really?
Well, critics say it sometimes feels more like a game of Monopoly, where the rich get richer. Developing nations struggle to keep up.
Trade disputes can drag on forever, too. It's like watching paint dry, waiting for resolutions.
Exactly. And in the meantime, smaller economies might suffer. It's not always efficient.
Then we have the IMF and World Bank offering loans but with strings attached.
Ah, yes. It's like borrowing money from a strict parent. Helpful, but with lots of rules.
Spot on.
Those conditions can be tough.
Some countries feel pressured to implement policies that don't necessarily benefit their population.
Exactly. And that can lead to social unrest or increased inequality. It's a double-edged sword.
Sometimes I feel these organizations are more about politics than helping people.
That's a strong statement. What makes you think that?
Well, look at how the Security Council can be paralyzed by vetoes, or how the IMF's policies sometimes harm the poorest.
I see your point. But without these institutions, wouldn't the situation be worse?
Maybe.
At least they provide a starting point for addressing global issues.
True, but perhaps they need reform. Maybe more inclusivity and transparency could help.
Agreed. Reforms could make them more effective and fair.
Exactly.
After all, they were created to serve all nations, not just the powerful ones.
So, international organizations are like the glue holding the global community together, but sometimes the glue needs a bit of reinforcement.
Nicely put. It's clear they play vital roles, but they aren't perfect. Ongoing dialogue and reform are key.
Exactly. Maybe it's up to us as global citizens to demand better.
Totally agree. So perhaps next time we'll dive into how individuals can influence these giant organizations.
Sounds
Looking forward
good.
to it.
Me too. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Yeah, thanks for the great discussion.
Thank you. Until next time.